Hello and welcome to the Marketing Women podcast. I'm your host, Anusha, Kannan, and it is great to have you here. Are you looking to move into marketing or want to learn marketing from scratch? We discuss all things marketing, analytics, business, personal branding, AI, and much more in a way any layman can understand. If you're new here, make sure to follow along and get on that email list by visiting anushakannan.com/email list to receive newsletters from me twice weekly. Follow at Anusha Ramesh Kannan on TikTok. Tag us on your stories. Would love to see that. And now let's dive in. Welcome back to this week's episode. I'm super excited to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're having an amazing Tuesday. Before we get started, I did mention this in the last episode. I would appreciate it so much if you could go back to the last episode on Spotify and vote on that poll, because I want to understand if you guys like video podcasts or you like audio podcasts. I would just love it if you could just go vote there. But I want to jump back into something that I started initially when I started the Marketing Women podcast, which is talking about storytelling. And today we're going to dive into some of the actionable things that I've been noticing so far. Let me know if you've been noticing that. I think it's pretty interesting and I want to talk about that. So if you've been wondering how to make your brand stories more impactful and emotionally resonant, this episode might be just it. So in this episode, I'm going to break down how you can leverage or kind of use the latest storytelling trends to create deep, lasting connections with your audience. So let's start with the first one, which is authenticity and transparency. You know, I talk about that a lot on this podcast. Why it matters? Because in 2024, consumers and people like us, we know when people are bullshitting, right? We see straight, like right through it. People use marketing like it's their household thing. Everybody knows when someone's marketing stuff to them. And everybody knows when someone's just, cold sales pitching to them. So consumers are really, really drawn to authentic, human-centric stories. Don't even get me started on AI-generated content. So now people crave more genuine, more relatable experiences that only human storytelling can provide. Take the podcast, for example. When I do episodes that are too technical or it's too much to take. People don't like it. And when I talk about things like you and I can sit and have a conversation, whatever flows, right? When my podcast episodes are like that, it seems to me like you guys are relating better. So we're talking all about authenticity and transparency. How can we actually do this? The first thing is share behind the scenes content, do personal anecdotes, talk about real struggles from your brand's journey. Because transparency, it's about your values, the processes, and also the mission. Like, that's what builds trust. For instance, sharing challenges in product development or decisions about sustainability practices, because you cannot just wake up one day and know everything about sustainable practices. Learning about sustainability is a huge process, and being open about that with your consumers will only, kind of foster a deep connection with your audience. So that's number one, be authentic, be transparent. Number two is use emotion-driven narrative. And I've talked about this in the first couple of episodes too, the second episode. Emotional storytelling, and I'm not saying that in terms of manipulating someone, but it still remains one of the top methods for building trust. Because when you can evoke emotions, whether through joy, empathy, tension, or just something that's more memorable, more relatable, it works out pretty well. That's really interesting, but hold on a second. I've got something just as exciting to share with you. Elevar Gazette is your go-to newsletter for elevating both your personal and professional life. Every Sunday, get tips on achieving balance and personal growth. Every Thursday, receive career advice, marketing strategies, and professional development insights, and much more. Plus, stay updated with the latest from my podcasts and much more. Join my newsletter today at anushakannan.com/email list and start elevating your journey. Let's get back into the show. So how can you actually do this? Look at the emotional journey your audience usually takes and craft your brand story around key moments that actually align with the customer's experiences. For example, you can use customer testimonials where real people share their challenges and how your product or service has positively impacted their lives. Or when you basically humanize complex issues, it just makes the whole thing better because people can see people. People like to learn from people. People like to speak to people. People like to see, they like feeling that like they're not alone, right? Community. That's what really drives emotional narratives. That's the second one for you. The third one, I've been talking about how short form interactive content has been going crazy in 2024 and more in 2025. So with attention spans just shrinking by the day, use TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, which can be used to quickly communicate brand messages, encourage user interaction. So what you can do here is create like bite-sized, visually engaging stories, add some, just like I did now, add some interactive elements such as polls, challenges, BTS moments, behind the scenes moments to sort of encourage your audience to participate. So that's basically what I did. And I would appreciate it if you go like just take 2 seconds of your time to go and vote on the poll. It's pretty fun. Okay, let's say like a day in the life. It works out so well, right? Even for corporate people, it works out so well because people want visually engaging content that they feel like they can be a part of. So like I just said, which leads me to my fourth point, incorporate UGC and inclusivity. Consumers want to see themselves in the stories brands are telling. So by involving your audience directly in your storytelling, forget about just making them feel like they're with you. Now you actually bring them on the journey. You build trust. You make sure there's inclusivity, and you form a community. So invite your customers to share their experiences with your product or service. Talk about diverse voices that reflect a wide array of perspectives, because this builds a genuine community around your brand. And it's also seen in brands that excel in inclusive marketing, right? If you just go and look at really good companies doing great marketing, you will really see this. So that's the fourth one. Before we jump to the last one, I want to say, let's just recap. So the first one was embracing and being authentic, being transparent. The second one is using emotion-driven narratives. Emotional storytelling still works pretty well. The third one was making sure that we create short-form interactive content. The fourth one, UGC and inclusivity, making sure that consumers can see themselves in the stories your brand is telling. The fifth one is storytelling through emerging technology. So AR, it's reshaping how stories are told. I haven't yet met someone that can shed some insight on augmented reality for me. If you know something, please hit me up on LinkedIn. I would love to learn, and I would love to share that with people as well. I haven't really asked a lot of people, so that's my mistake too. But AR allows consumers to engage with digital elements in real-world settings, which means, again, interactive and memorable experience. I've read a lot about this, but I just know IKEA did that, but I don't really know much more than that. Speaking of IKEA allowed users to visualize how products would look in their homes before purchase. Amazon does this as well, but I'm just not sure how well this is working for the marketing team. I haven't really met somebody that can add some data on how it's actually working. So, I'm a data-driven person and I need some data to convince me. So storytelling experiences are just amazing. People love a good story. So that's what I had for this episode, because as we're moving into 2025, I'm actually really scared about what's coming ahead, because I feel like every day there's something new. And I mean like good scared. And I just think authentic narratives, having emotional resonance, being on video, understanding technologies, all of these things can really help brands create meaningful stories, because they will be the ones that actually stand out. So I hope this inspired you to refine your brand story and also interact with your audience. Speaking of which, please go vote on my poll. I've said this like a million times and I'm going to say it more. So just do it. Okay. Thanks. That's it for today. Hope you find it useful. Please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or email me at anusha@anushakannan.com. Follow me on LinkedIn to never miss my journey, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.